Joining us now at the dais is Oklahoma head coach Bob Stoops. Coach, welcome. Your thoughts about the upcoming season?
Thank you. It's great to be here today with four of my great leaders on our team and players, Samaje P. Ryan and Baker Mayfield on offense, Jordan Evans and Ahmad Thomas on defense. Again, excellent leaders and great players on our team. Great to be here, I guess, going on my 18th season coming to this event. And really, like all the other seasons, really excited and looking forward to being on the field again with this football team. It's a group of guys, that a good number of them back from last year's Big 12 championship team and Final Four team are back, but it's still a new team. There's still enough new pieces that it's its own new team altogether. But I've been really pleased with the overall intensity and effort in the winter conditioning, the spring practices, and what they've been doing here this summer. In today's world, we're able to keep track of them more in the summer now, and from what I've seen in engaging by how pleased my strength staff is, I feel like our guys have really worked hard and are in a great position coming into the season. So I've been asked a lot already about preseason rankings. It really doesn't matter to us. Again, going into our 18th season, we've been picked to win. We've been picked not to win. I don't recall it ever mattering. That none of it matters other than the work that you put in, what you earn day to day, and the way we practice, the way we prepare in meetings, and how we ultimately play and coach. So again, we're just excited to be ready to start the season and looking forward to hopefully having another championship type team.
We got a question on the aisle here just a second, as soon as we get a microphone to you. And again, if you would, your name and affiliations. Well, that's fine.
Hey, Coach. Nate Fain, Game Day U at the University of Oklahoma. So you're now the longest tenured coach in the FBS, and I was curious, how long do you plan on seeing yourself coaching?
You know, that's something you'd ask a guy that's maybe 65, but I'm only 55, so I don't see myself anytime soon. That being a question that I need to answer. So I like to think I'm in really good health. I take care of myself. I can't wait for this season, much like I couldn't 17 years ago for my first one as a head coach. It's exciting. You have a new team every year, and I can't wait for it. So hopefully I'm going another 10 years or so. I don't think I'll be one of those guys, God bless him, like Coach Snyder. I'm not going that long, but I sure can go to retirement age, you know.
We got a question on the aisle about halfway back.
Jake Trotter with ESPN.com. What are your thoughts on the walk-on transfer rule change this summer and the fact that Texas Tech actually supported the rule change?
Yeah, hats off to Cliff and Kirby Hocutt, their AD, and it ultimately is the right thing to do. I know, obviously, I'm going to say that I get it. It helps or is positive advantage for Baker Mayfield, but let's look beyond one guy. I mean, let's face it, it's the right thing to do. That's the bottom line. So it's pleased and that it worked out that way, not only for Baker, but for any guy moving forward. If a guy can leave one program and go somewhere else who's not on scholarship and get on the field and play, then that's what he should do, and I don't see it being a problem whatsoever. So anyway, I think it's great that we came to the right conclusion. And again, ultimately for all sports, it's the correct thing to do.
On your right, Coach, about halfway back.
Bobby over here, Brian Baldinger, Fox Sports. Your 1-2 punch at running back with Samaje and with Joe. Is it as good as you've had, Coach, in your 18 years?
It's fair to say yes, absolutely. These guys are, they're such all-around players. They're amazing when you watch the coach's version of the end zone copy, the holes they pick and the patience they have. Then you notice the obvious is the strength and power, but and they rarely get caught. They're unusually fast for that size. So they have it all, and they got great hands, So they're really well-rounded guys that way and complement each other, I think, really well. So yeah, that'd be. I'm trying to think of some of the other tandems I've had. I don't know that I've had two to that, quality.
On your left, all the way back, Barry.
Yeah, Barry Trammell with the Oklahoman. You've voted to institute a title game starting next season. It sounds like divisions are going to be have decided to go to divisions despite a round robin. How would you like to see the divisions split up?
I have somewhat of an opinion. I don't feel like I don't want to express it. That this is how I want it. In the end, heck, I don't want to say I don't really care, but in the end, whatever's best for the fans and for us, as you space out the year and who you're playing when and where, whatever's best, for the viewership and the fans, I'll be all for.
We got a question on the rear, and then we're going to go over to the side over here.
Brian Aber from the Oklahoman. You've had the last few years several strong personalities on this defense with obviously Eric Stryker and Zach Sanchez and Charles Tapper. Those guys are all gone now. Is there another guy who's going to be like that in terms of leadership for this defense, or is it just going to be a different dynamic without those guys around?
Well, I have a couple of them here today, and I've said this almost every year. In college, you're always losing leadership. You're always losing seniors, and new guys are now in a position to do it. Ahmad Thomas has been a leader for us. Jordan Evans has been a leader for us. Those guys are back and doing well. Matt Romar up front is a guy that's been a strong leader for us already. And other guys as they go through the year. Stephen Parker, even though he's a year younger, Stephen's a leader in every way in what we're doing there. So, so we'll have other guys in a position to do it.
On the right side, about halfway back, Coach.
Coach, right here. Mac Engel with the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Coach, in light of all of the increased public awareness on domestic violence and on-campus sexual assault and things like that, have you found it difficult to rationalize or justify the existence of Joe Mixon on your roster as a full scholarship athlete?
Well, you're talking about a situation that occurred 3 summers ago, I believe, right? And Joe Mixon was punished. And we've already been through all of this. He's met high standards, continues to have to meet high standards to remain a part of the football team, but he has done so all along. All right, so everybody has different measures of what's enough punishment and what is not. In the end, we felt, myself along with our administration, that this was the right punishment. And he's met everything that all the conditions we put in front of him. And he was removed for a full season.
Question on your left, about a quarter of the way back.
Coach, Harrison Graham, ESPN Dallas Radio. I think most people agree that the walk-on transfer rule was the right thing to do. However, Kyler Murray transferred to your program thinking he could maybe play in 2017. Now he may have to wait an extra year. What's his reaction been like?
Kyler's been nothing but positive. He's been a positive member of our team in the way he's worked all through the winter and spring, brings positive energy every day. And, so I've seen nothing but positive from Kyler.
On the front left,
Dean Blevins, News 9 Sports. Bob, you've got playmakers on offense, but you lose just a fantastic asset in Sterling Shepard. What do you see at the receiver position that can provide what he did or come close to it?
For one, I don't know you ever replace, Sterling was a dynamic big play guy for us. A couple of things. I do believe D.D. Westbrook and the way he's performed in the spring and what he's capable of, that he can have and be, create more big plays in that type of way this year. Mark Andrews is a guy that everybody was clamoring to get on the field more a year ago, who's a different style of receiver than Sterling, but is highly effective when he was on the field. He's a guy that'll have a bigger role now, and I believe there are other guys, more guys in the room this year that are prepared to play at the receiver position than there were a year ago. So I feel like overall we'll be able to absorb the absence of Sterling with better play from more guys. Hopefully that's how it'll work.
On the left side, 3 rows back, left side, this way, Coach. Over here.
Kirk Bowles from the Austin American Statesman. Bob, you won a national championship in your second year, and you've been in 3 or 4 other ones and come very close. Do you reflect back on those years and look about how close you came in? Has there been a missing ingredient that you apply going forward?
I wouldn't, all those years they're all so different. Few of them were in the BCS era. Just last year is in the Final Four, but in the end, they're all a little bit different. So I can't say no, there's any one piece. Just that overall, I've talked to Coach Switzer about this at length, or we had a good talk one day, but and back in a certain time, you might play in the last game of the year, your bowl game, you might play the 10th or 12th best team in the country. And say we're in the Orange Bowl. That's where we always went when everyone went to whatever bowl. Nowadays, that's not happening. You're going to play either the next best football team, debated who's the next best, but in the end, you're playing a very good football team. And if you're not at all, whether it be by injury or whatever, if you're not at your best, you're going to have a hard time winning that game. And so in the end, I don't reflect back much on it. I look forward, and try and continue to improve, be a more powerful team is what I'm constantly preaching.
On your left, Coach, on the 3rd row.
John Hoover, the franchise. Bob, Charlie Strong was in here earlier today, and he was asked why his team has performed so well against you guys the last 3 years. And he said it's a game that you don't have to say anything. It's the one game of the year that he doesn't have to give a pep talk or a pregame speech. From your perspective, why have you guys not been able to, whatever it is, hit that level or execute like you want to and like you've seen them do in the past in that game?
Well, 3 years, or did we just lose last year?
Lost 2 of the last 3.
Okay. Well, in the end, you're talking how many years back. In this last game, they ran the football better than us. They were more physical than us. We didn't execute well enough on either side of the ball. We had more missed tackles in that game than maybe up till the Clemson game. And then as well as I didn't feel we executed very well offensively as well. We didn't throw it very well and couldn't run it. So in the end, that's where it was a year ago.
On the front row left.
Dennis Dodd, CBS Sports. Bob, you haven't been shy about scheduling non-conference opponents, but do you notice that happening more around the country? Why do you think that is? I can't speak for the rest of the country. It's always been our view, Joe Castiglione and I setting up the schedule, and Joe's always conferred with me on it, on who we want to play, and I've always accepted, whatever's come across. And we're not only Ohio State these 2 years and Houston with it to start the season. And then, the previous 6, we've just had series with Tennessee, Notre Dame, and Florida State. So we've always just believed if you're going to be a top-tier program and one of the better teams in the country, play like teams. Challenge yourself. It's what college football fans all around the country want to see. I know it's what our fans want to see, as long as you win. But in the end, and our players are challenged and excited about it, as well as, us as a coaching staff. Well, maybe I guess other teams are looking that. I believe it made a difference a year ago, us getting in the playoff and getting in the Final Four, the fact that we went to Tennessee and won. Had we had a lesser opponent and no one cared about, then we may not have. Who knows? But in the end, and I think it through the BCS eras, I was just asked a little earlier about some of the other games we were in. In those years, we played tough out-of-conference games to get ourselves a chance. Say you were the one team tied with 2 or 3 other teams with 1 loss, if you played the tougher out-of-season, tougher schedule, then usually you got the nod. So maybe that's how other teams are now looking at it.
Got a question here in the center.
Hey, Coach. Will Baser from hornsports.com. What are your thoughts on the championship game this year, given that last year, if it would have happened, you would have been playing Oklahoma State twice in a row? Also, the fact that you could be facing Texas twice in a row in that championship game. What are your thoughts on the championship game?
Yeah, I think for the right reasons, it's the right thing to do. It's been talked a lot about, primarily the 13th data point, and primarily also everybody gets an extra $3 million. That's significant. So in the end, let's go play. However they set it up, we'll be ready to to work with it. So just in regard to what you said, I've been sort of back and forth, just talking through it, that we should just take the top 2 teams and play again. But then that would have created a scenario like last year, where we're playing Oklahoma State immediately after just playing them. And then you say, better off to go to divisions, and then you may not be playing the 2 top teams. You may be playing a team that, in one division that, may have more losses than the 2 in another division. So I've sort of been back and forth on that. So obviously I don't know how to set it up.
In the center, right here in the front.
Chip Brown, Horns Digest, and AM 1300, The Zone in Austin. Bob, you got guys who are going to be stepping up on defense with Dominique having moved on and others, Tapper, Stryker. And there's no time to get going because there's Tom Herman right off the top. Can you talk about the leadership on your defense and how far you think they've come?
Yeah, I'm pleased with the way our guys are working. I mentioned some of them. We've got guys that aren't here even. Matt Romar has been a strong leader for our team really in the last couple of years on the D-line. Jordan Evans is here, at linebacker. Ahmad Thomas. Stephen Parker now going into his 3rd year starting is a guy that's not here, that's a younger guy that's been a strong leader for us. And then there's a host of guys that have played a lot of football around him. Charles Walker's, played a ton of football up there and on and on. So, I feel we've got work to do definitely in those areas, but I feel like we have some talented guys that are now in a position to hopefully, take control of those positions.
Question all the way in the rear in the center section.
Myron Patton, Fox 25, Oklahoma City. Obviously, Baker's your quarterback. How comfortable are you with a true freshman, Austin Kendall, being your backup quarterback?
Really loved what he did. Having him here all winter and spring was a big boost because he's in this situation. He did a great job through the spring. I was really pleased with him. Really smart in his decision making, avoided the bad plays, for a guy that's just out of high school, and talented arm. So I feel good about him. He's only going to keep, improving and getting better. Coach Riley does a great job with those guys. So I feel good about Austin and, in the spring he had and the summer he's having right now.
This is going to be the final question for Coach in the middle.
Yeah, Jake Trotter, ESPN.com. Would you be in favor of the Oklahoma and Texas game being played a second time in 1 year, or I'm over here?
Oh, okay.
It's
Sorry.
okay.
I saw you once already,
yeah.
but I forgot.
Would you be in favor of the Oklahoma and Texas game potentially being played in a rematch at the end of the year, or is that a game that should be played just once?
Well, obviously, if we're in different divisions, then hey, let's go again. I mean, that'd be exciting. Why wouldn't it be? 2's better than 1, right? That's what usually, anyway.
Okay, Coach. Thank you for your comments and good luck this season.
Thank you.